A fresh World Cup storm has erupted, and this time, it is not about a goal, a red card, or a controversial VAR decision. It is about travel, security, and a furious accusation from inside the Iran camp. Just as Iran were preparing for their next World Cup fixture against Egypt in Seattle, a new row broke out after the Iranian Football Federation claimed that two members of their traveling party were delayed by United States officials. One of them was Iran striker Mehdi Taremi. The other was assistant coach Saeed Alhoei. And while the delay reportedly lasted 25 minutes, the impact around the team was far bigger than the clock suggested. Because for Iran, this was not just another travel problem. It became another flashpoint in what their head coach has already described as a deeply difficult World Cup experience. So what exactly happened? Why was the squad delayed? And why are Iran now saying they feel like the most oppressed team at the tournament? Let's break it down. According to the Iranian Football Federation, Iran's squad were traveling to Seattle ahead of their World Cup match against Egypt when host officials caused problems for Mehdi Taremi and Saeed Alhoei. The statement claimed that both men were disturbed during the journey, delaying the team convoy's departure. The reason for the holdup has not been revealed. That detail is important. There has been no public explanation for why Taremi and Alhoei were delayed, and the article does not confirm what officials were checking or why the two men were singled out. But what is clear is this: the rest of the squad had to wait. For 25 minutes, Iran's journey was held up before they were eventually allowed to continue towards Seattle. On paper, 25 minutes may not sound like a major disruption, but inside a World Cup campaign, every detail matters. Travel time matters. Recovery time matters. Routine matters. And when a team already believes it is being forced to deal with unusual restrictions, even a short delay can feel like one more obstacle piled on top of everything else. Iran's World Cup situation has already been unusual from the beginning. Although all of Iran's group stage fixtures are being played in the United States, the team has established its tournament base in Mexico. They have been staying in Tijuana, despite originally being expected to prepare in Tucson, Arizona. The move came amid concerns over security and visa approvals, according to the article. That means Iran have not simply been moving between American host cities like most teams might expect. Instead, they have been traveling back and forth across borders during the tournament. And this latest incident, involving Taremi and Alhoei, has only intensified the sense that Iran's World Cup journey has become far more complicated than just football. But this was not the first time Iran complained about travel arrangements. After their opening tournament match against New Zealand, head coach Amir Ghalenoei said his team had been forced to leave immediately and return to their training base in Tijuana. According to Ghalenoei, Iran had expected to stay in Los Angeles overnight after the match, recover properly, and travel back the next day. But that did not happen. Instead, he said they were told after the game that they had to leave immediately. In his words, the situation was very strange. He said the team had been asked to get on a plane and return to Mexico, and he admitted the squad were troubled by it. For a coach trying to manage players through a demanding tournament schedule, that is a serious complaint. Because a World Cup is not only about the 90 minutes on the pitch, it is also about the hours after the final whistle. The recovery, the sleep, the medical work, the tactical preparation, the mental reset. And Iran's head coach made it clear he believes those parts of the campaign have been disrupted. He also said they were supposed to arrive 2 nights before one match, but were not permitted to do so. They were also supposed to stay overnight after the game and return the next day at lunchtime. Again, according to Ghalenoei, that plan was not allowed. And then came his strongest line. He said Iran were the most oppressed team in the whole World Cup. That statement changed the tone of the story completely. This was no longer just about one delayed convoy. This became about Iran's wider frustration with how their tournament has been handled. Ghalenoei said his federation was not there. His media was not there. His management was not there. And from his point of view, others appeared to be planning things for the team. That is a powerful accusation not because it proves wrongdoing, but because it shows the level of frustration inside the Iran camp. For the players, the pressure is already enormous. They are trying to compete at the World Cup. They are trying to prepare for Egypt. They are trying to keep focus on football. But around them, the headlines are being dominated by delays, travel restrictions, visa concerns, security questions, and now an official complaint involving one of their most important players. Mehdi Taremi is not just another name in the squad. He is one of Iran's headline players. So when reports say he was held up by officials, it immediately becomes a major story. And when the team says that delay affected the squad's travel plans, the issue becomes even bigger. Still, one key point must remain clear. The reason for the holdup has not been revealed. There is no confirmed explanation in the article for why Taremi and Alhoei were delayed. That leaves the story surrounded by questions. Was it a routine check? Was it linked to travel documents? Was it connected to wider tournament restrictions? At this stage, the article does not say. But Iran's reaction shows they believe this was another unnecessary problem at a World Cup where they already feel disadvantaged. The United States Department of Homeland Security was asked to respond to Ghalenoei's comments. Their response was short. A spokesperson said, "The Iranian national football team agreed to these terms." That line adds another layer to the row. Iran are saying the situation has become difficult and restrictive. U.S. officials are saying the team agreed to the conditions. And in the middle of it all, Iran still have a World Cup match to play. So now, ahead of Iran's fixture against Egypt in Seattle, the football story has been overtaken by a travel dispute. A 5-minute delay has become the latest symbol of a much bigger World Cup controversy. Iran say Mehdi Taremi and Saeed Alhoei were disturbed by host officials. Their coach says the team has faced repeated hurdles. And the Department of Homeland Security says Iran agreed to the terms. For now, there are still unanswered questions. The reason for the latest holdup has not been revealed. The full details behind the travel restrictions remain unclear. But one thing is certain. Iran's World Cup campaign is no longer being discussed only for what happens on the pitch. It is now being watched for what happens before the team even gets there. And as the match against Egypt approaches, the pressure around Iran is growing fast. Because at a World Cup, every journey matters. Every delay matters. And when a team believes the road itself is becoming part of the battle, the drama does not wait for kickoff. It starts long before the first whistle.